anything else you want to say before we get the two of you together to talk? Any?
I think there's a question you didn't ask me. You asked me what I remembered about, my childhood and that, and what I valued about my work. I guess when you're going to, number one, I guess what you're going to talk to us about the children. Okay.
I haven't forgotten about us.
Good. Wouldn't want to leave them out of my life's work. And the other thing is, there were two things that really affected me in a profound way in my lifetime. The first was the fire, in a negative, profound way. The first was the fire, which did far more damage internally than it did externally, and it did plenty of damage externally. The internal damage to me was that as a parent, you always think your children are safe when they're with you. But and we all have to live with some illusion that we have control over our lives, or else you couldn't go on living. You would walk around being a basket case all the time, thinking you couldn't control anything. But in the blink of an eye, the fire taught me that I can't protect my children from anything. My children aren't safe because they're with me. And there were a lot of childhood things that it reinforced, feelings about not being safe. So very often in my life, I think of things before or after the fire. So it was a major event in 1990. The second thing was the death of my dad. In many ways, and not in a weird way or anything, but I was my dad's partner. Because my mom was sick, I took over the jobs of running the house a lot of times when she couldn't, and being responsible for the younger ones. And my dad wasn't demonstrative at all, and at a young age I told him that he needed to get Mom a Christmas present or get Mom a birthday present. And as soon as I was old enough to walk up the street, he'd say, "Why don't you get it for me?" And so I would start buying my mother, all of my mother's gifts for him. So he relied on me to do things either that he couldn't or he didn't want to do. And I didn't realize that connection until after he was gone. And my mother worked evenings for quite a while, and so Dad and I were responsible for feeding everybody dinner, and he and I did the dishes together every night. He washed and I cleaned up, and we talked the whole time. We talked about philosophical things, and I got to know him in a way that my brothers and sisters really didn't. So those are two important events in my life.